the chairman of the board of Fiji Ports Corporation Limited, his board members, the permanent secretary for public enterprise, the CEO of PCL, and of course the shareholder representatives from FNPF and also from Aitken Swens. Good to have our Sri Lankan friends here. Mr. Burrito, welcome back again to Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not intend to make a very long speech. I hope to have a bit of a Talanoa session with you, because I saw some uniforms like this on the march on Saturday. So I'm very interested to find out what is actually happening there, even though you guys are getting bonuses and your fellow your colleagues down at Fiji Ports Corporation Limited actually received 2 bonuses in a couple of years, and I was kind of wondering, I was very interested to see what is going in the minds of some of these people. But ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to make the announcement in respect of the bonuses itself. But before I do that, one thing that your chairman highlighted was that the significant level of profit that has now been attained by Fiji Ports Corporation Limited. And that has actually happened because, primarily because of the input of Aitken Swens, which is a world-renowned port operator, not just in Sri Lanka, but in other countries. And the fact that the Fijian government took a decision to divest some of its shares in not just Fiji Ports Corporation Limited, but other state-owned enterprises. The reason why we've done that is to bring in strategic partners to be able to very quickly enhance our productivity and also to be able to position Fiji internationally. It is very, very important. A lot of people in Fiji still think that, we can do things as we have been doing things. You can't. There's no way you can. If you wanted to continue to do that, you won't survive. The world is extremely competitive. Every country is trying to position itself. In the same way that people think about tourism, that everybody wants to come to Fiji for a holiday. No, they don't. We have to try and entice them to come to Fiji. There are other countries in the Pacific, there are other countries in Asia, in Southeast Asia, that actually want to entice people to come to their countries. So we always have to be innovative. We always have to think 10 years ahead as to how we need to position ourselves to ensure that we continue with the jobs that we have, we increase the productivity level, we get better salaries, better production levels, and we're also able to create more jobs. And that is very, very important for us. Unemployment rate in Fiji today, the recent statistics has been revealed, is now been the lowest in the past 15 years, 5.5%. However, youth unemployment is higher than 5.5%. We have to be considerate of that. Overall, it's 5.5%. Lowest has been in the past 15 years. But youth unemployment is still slightly higher than 5.5%. So what are we doing about it? One of the things, of course, we've done about it is that we brought down the retirement age to 55 in the civil service. Nearly 70% of the entire Fijian population today is below the age of 40. So those of you over the age of 40, including myself, we're in the minority. People below the age of 40 are in the majority. They are the future. They are the intellectual powerhouse. They are the people who provide us that drive, that go ahead to be able to position Fiji for the future. So it's very important for us to be able to understand that. A lot of people also think that once we make an announcement and say, oh, the company's made a profit of $24 million or $26 million, they said, oh, they all think that that's all the money we can spend now. No, you can't. Because you have a lot of assets. The port has a lot of assets. A lot of your assets are actually deteriorating. You need to always keep money aside to be able to ensure that your assets keep on producing the right level of output. 1/3 of your port cannot be used for heavy ships because it does not have the infrastructure capacity to be able to handle the load. So we need to put money aside to make sure it's rebuilt. In the same way we talk about electricity. Monasavu was built in the 1970s. Under previous managements, under previous governments, have they been putting money aside to make sure that the dam is maintained well? In the same way like you build your house. When you build your house, it's nice and new, good paint job, nice louvers. Over the past next few years, your child may break one louver, the paint may start deteriorating. You have to maintain the house to be able to maintain the value of the house. If you don't fix the leaking roof, if you don't fix up the louver that's broken, water will come inside the house. It'll damage the floor. Things will deteriorate even more. In the same way, we have to think about government assets. The same way you have to think about your business, your Fiji Ports Corporation Limited. Are you putting aside enough money to be able to make sure that the infrastructure that you have is maintained well? Are you buying modern equipment? Are you buying new equipment? Are you being trained in the modern ways of running a business? These are some very fundamental things people tend to forget. And of course, there'll be some people, like on Saturday, they'll come and delude you into thinking that if you just simply march and demand for this much wages, etc., then everything will be hunky-dory. It won't be. You have to think beyond your noses. We have to be able to think what is the future. We have to be able to position ourselves. Despite that, despite those challenges that we've had, despite some of the mismanagement that Fiji Ports Corporation had a number of years ago, the company today, with the right partners, is making a profit. Of course, it can make more profit. We need to ensure that the new port development that your chairman spoke about, we actually implement that. We need to get a better port. We need to be able to have a modern port. We need to have a site, from government's perspective, a port site where you don't just have the fishing area, where the fishing boats come. You have your cruise liner areas, you have your normal industrial ships, commercial ships. You should also have your ship repair. You also should have your shipbuilding. All of them should be in alignment. It's a one-stop service shop that should be available. So people don't come to Fiji just because they want to come to Fiji, but people from other countries want to come to Fiji because we offer something that's unique. It's something that's different. Wouldn't it be great if we were able to offer not only slip services but also dry docking, to be able to do wet docking, to be able to ensure that people come and repair their ships in Fiji? More people come to Fiji, your company makes more money, you have the ability to get more profits, you have the ability to get more bonuses. When they also come to Fiji, they stop and buy things in our country. When they stop and buy things in our country, they pay VAT. When we collect more VAT, we can build more bridges, more roads, connect more people with electricity. There are still Fijians today in Fiji drinking from creeks. There are still Fijians who are drinking from wells with tadpoles in it. There are still Fijians who don't have access to electricity. In the past few years, we've connected a lot more people with water and electricity than ever before in such a short period of time. But we need to do more. If we need to do that, then all of us need to be able to ensure that we contribute towards that development. In the same way, who would have thought a few years ago that education would become free? Today, none of your children who go to school actually have to pay any school fees, all the way from kindergarten all the way up to year 13. Who would have thought that we would have got scholarships based on merit? Who would have thought that we could have a loan scheme for your children? If they go to university, they don't get a scholarship, they can still go to university because we pay for them to go to university. All they have to do is pay it back only after university, only once they start working, and some of them without any interest rate whatsoever. None of this was possible a few years ago. The reason why this is possible today is because we've had the financial discipline and we are working towards a particular focused area. We need to be able to build that asset base, and we need to be financially a lot more clever. If we all do that, we will all benefit from it. Ladies and gentlemen, the bonus that we're going to declare today is of course for Fiji Ports Corporation Limited. Like I mentioned, that the Fiji Ports Terminal Limited in September received a bonus payment of $338,000, and of course Fiji Ports Corporation Limited, as you know, is made up of Fiji Ship and Heavy Industries Limited, and which is part of Fiji Ports Corporation Limited. Fiji Ship Heavy Industries Limited, in fact, their revenue declined by 15%. But notwithstanding that, we have, of course, also allowed them to be receiving a bonus payment today. So we have the Fiji Ports Corporation Limited staff. We have 63 support staff. We'll get $300 as bonus. With 58 staff, we'll get 7.5% of base salary as bonus. 8 staff will get 10% of base salary as bonus, and 9 staff will get 15% of base salary as bonus. Fiji Ship and Heavy Industries Limited, the 15 contract staff will be paid a total of $17,676.99. 33 permanent staff to be paid a total of $18,322.30. 6 apprentice staff will be paid a total of $2,827.97, and 22 project staff will be paid a total of $9,701.26. These are the bonuses payments that you will receive, ladies and gentlemen, for your hard work and your contribution. The reality is that any organization, or no organization I should say, can function without the people that work in that organization, because obviously that organization won't exist. So we have to be able to ensure that we recognize the hard work by the staff, the input by the staff. We of course can always improve, but the idea is that once people actually achieve a particular level of productivity, a particular level of input, then we'll be able to do a lot better. The fact of the matter is this, that if we are able to capitalize on this momentum that we have a very good board, they're able to make some very smart and acute decisions that requires us to be able to position ourselves, then all of you will benefit from it. So I'd like to thank you for your input. It's very important. As government has said, we want our, not just government, but also state-owned enterprises. Fiji Ports Corporation Limited, of course, is not a 100% state-owned enterprise anymore. As has been highlighted, 41% is owned by the Fijian government, 39% is owned by the Fiji National Provident Fund. So you actually indirectly shareholders also, because all of you are members of FNPF. When FNPF makes a profit and they get a dividend, it adds to your portfolio. Therefore, the returns on your FNPF will be higher. So today, FNPF's return is a lot higher than what it was ever before. So the other shareholder, of course, is Aitken Spence. As I mentioned a lot about Aitken Spence, that brought about that particular level of input that we did not have domestically available. So if everybody gets together and we are able to focus on the future, then we not only will be able to sustain jobs, but we'll be able to create a lot more jobs and get better productivity. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your input. And I look forward to talking to you later on. Naka, thank you. I'd like to also publicly acknowledge the work of the board. The board has done a lot of significant work, a lot of challenges. I also like to thank our PS for Industry and Trade, who is also the chair. And we have also other board members who are present, both from Aitken Spence and FNPF. And I'd like to thank them for the input, and I continue to look forward to them and giving that level of productivity required. But also I urge the board publicly now for us to start seriously looking at the new port development. I think that's very, very important for us to be able to position Fiji. Fiji, as you know, geographically is the hub. Today, like I've said to you before, Fiji Airways flies to every single continent that rims the Pacific Ocean except South America. We fly every day to LA. We are now flying twice a week to San Francisco. They'll go up to 3 times a week. We fly nearly 4 or 5 times a week to Hong Kong. We now fly twice a week to Singapore. That's going to go up to about 3 times very soon. We fly every day, sometimes twice a day, to Sydney. We fly to Brisbane. We fly to Melbourne. We fly to Auckland. We fly to Wellington. We fly to Christchurch. We, of course, fly to the other Pacific Island countries. That level of footprint that Fiji Airways has, we like our ports to actually have that level of footprint. We'd like ships to be able to come from different destinations and see Fiji as an attractive destination to be able to fuel, to be able to offload their goods, for that to be then transshipped to other parts of the Pacific. Indeed, hopefully, God willing, one day to even places like Australia and New Zealand. And we need and we can do that. We have that capacity to do that. We need to be able to invest in that level of technology, the level of efficiency. The example that I always use is Singapore. Singapore is slightly bigger than the size of Taveuni. Singapore does not even have its own drinking water. We have many creeks and rivers and streams. When the Singapore military want to go and do jungle training, they hire a jungle from Indonesia. They don't even have their own jungle. They have their vegetables come from across the border. They have their water come from Malaysia. But their leaders many decades ago decided to reconfigure themselves. So today is the most busiest port, one of the most busiest ports in the world, because they managed to say, come to Singapore, we are very efficient. We'll handle goods in a very efficient manner. And that, of course, attracts shipping companies. So we, of course, can do the same too. We have the ability to do that. We are in the center of the Southern Pacific, and we can create that hubbing status for ourselves if we all work together. Thank you.